Okay, call this on the order. Our friend is this one. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Present is Commissioner Mark Silverano, Dylan Francesco, Jeff Wilcox, for Vincent Hondo, Jack Macross, myself, and Shippey, and Carl Magasso. I apologize because I did not bring my magnifier. Comments from the public. Larry, do we have anyone online?
We got two folks online,
Okay.
but nobody has raised their hand.
Oh, okay. Anybody? No. Okay. Correspondence.
Nothing. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I have one letter, for correspondence, which I already shared with the police commission. It was a, acknowledgement of a job well done by one of our officers, which I'd like to read aloud. And I shared with the commission already the letter that I sent the officer, just acknowledging the citizen, letters. So this letter is dated March 9th, 2026. I just received it the other day. It was mailed to the police department, care of me. To Chief Police William Onofrio. I'm ready to commend Officer Daniel Fox for his exceptional act of kindness and understanding during the early hours of this past Saturday morning, March 7th. I incurred a traffic violation while rushing to reach my sister. I'm not going to say his sister's name, on Dudley Street. I was not sure if I would find her alive. When I explained the situation to Officer Fox, he responded with remarkable compassion. He not only provided me with a police escort, but also arranged for medical assistance along the way. His quick thinking and expediency were instrumental in getting my sister to the Shoreline Emergency Room. She is now receiving care at the critical unit at Middlesex Hospital. Officer Daniel Fox's humanity, professionalism, and swift action made a profound difference in a moment of crisis. I also wish to extend my utmost gratitude to all the officers and medics involved in assisting that morning. Each of them deserves to be recognized for their excellence. You have a truly outstanding force. Please ensure that Officer Fox and his colleagues receive accommodation they so greatly deserve. Sincerely, Diana Gora. I shared that with the commission, and then I also included a letter recognizing Officer Fox. I spoke to him as well. I think he did a great job there. He understands what we're actually trying to accomplish. That we're here to serve the public and to assist our citizens in times of need. Just so happens that he happened to see her rushing and stop her for a motor vehicle violation. But he realized that the world is bigger and life is bigger than just a violation, and he quickly diverted to trying to get the care that was needed and assist this woman. So I'm proud of him, and I wanted to share that tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's great.
Extend our congratulations and thankfulness as well.
I will. That's all I have for correspondence today. And well, is this correspondence, Tim?
Kind of, I guess, everyone.
So it's kind of correspondence.
Received that.
Yeah.
So we got,
Yeah.
we made the cover. So Sky and Detective Sergeant Williams made the cover of the old Saybrook Neighbors magazine. Great photo, great article.
Yeah, it is a nice article.
I'd like to thank them for doing that for us and acknowledging and highlighting our officers and our canine.
You know, usually when you see those, they have the whole family. I sort of missed that picture.
We didn't quite all get in there.
Did everybody get to see that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
I think that's all we have for correspondence today.
Okay, next discussion, possible action on the meeting minutes of the special meeting for March 2nd, 2026. I entertain a motion to accept the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Executive reports, Chief, if you just want to start and then each one if anyone has questions.
Yeah, so for the fiscal year 25-26 current operating budget. So to give you, we provided our current accounting balances and our accounts. And I'll address any outliers anybody sees, but I'm just gonna kind of give you the once over that I see or my take on it. So right now, currently, we're in week 18 of 26-week cycle. for this fiscal year. Obviously, we're do payroll, 2 weeks at a time. So in the field services, regular employee salary, account, which is originally budgeted for $2,540,453,000. Currently have balance of $941,000. Based on my projections right now in that account, looks like we're gonna probably have a surplus of around $159,000 in that account. A lot of that is, right now we have, 2 vacancies. You have the captain vacancy, which we're looking to fill, mid-spring. Then you also have an entry-level police officer vacancy, that we're also exploring and, starting to do some, backgrounds. We have a candidate list right now, so hopefully by same time frame, late spring, mid-spring, we should have an officer in front of you for consideration for hiring at the entry level. The line below that, field services vacation day coverage, that's also one of our bigger accounts, it's $284,000. That one we're projecting really well, but that one's a tough one to project. Just because, we're coming into the time of the year where we're gonna be using a lot more vacation time. And also, officers have the option in their contract, to cash out 10 vacation days, 40 hours of pay. So that directly impacts that account. We just put it out last week, for officers to take advantage of that, and so we know a little ahead of time, so we have some time, so Jen has some time to process those, included in our payroll. So in the coming weeks, we should have a little better idea. I think we're in really good shape in that account either way. And that should balance off some of our negative accounts, like the extra personnel, when officers have to stay over for, report writing, late arrest. We're going a little negative, but that was kind of anticipated in that account, but I think they should all balance off really well, and that we should be, receiving a surplus. If anybody had any questions on field services?
Well, I do have one.
Yep.
The field service overtime budgeted 0, but there's a negative 950 in it. I mean, is that,
Yeah, so why would we spend $950 on that?
Sometimes it's how town hall codes it. We don't really have an overtime line item. It's
That's what I was
selected for-
wondering.
Yeah, it literally is just how town hall codes it.
okay, I
So
was just wondering if that should be,
It should probably be
Correct.
under additional, any of the other ones. They just put it there.
Yeah, even our
Support-
overtime sheets, we don't really have even a
No.
category for that.
No, and
So
so
it's-
they've done it in support services too.
yeah, we've seen it before,
It's
for
just a
sure.
town hall thing,
Yeah, when me and Stephanie review the timesheets, there's not even a category for that.
just all the time now.
So, yeah, that's just an error. I mean, it's not that, it was spent in error.
It's a holdover.
Exactly. So the sports services. So the top line, sports services, regular employees. Budget is $607,000. That, we're also projecting a surplus of about $78,000 right now. That might be reduced a little bit because we are budgeted for 9 dispatchers. Right now, we currently have 7 full-time dispatchers. We are in the process of onboarding and hiring 2 new full-time dispatchers. So the surplus is directly related to those 2 vacancies, the $78,000. We still will show a surplus there. But we're gonna start using that salary in the next coming month or so, for the intended purpose. Everything else I believe should balance out pretty well. I mean, the overtime was tracking the same. They also, in their contract, had the option to cash out, right, in 10 days for that. So they have the option to cash out their 10 days for base 2, so you might see an impact on that in the coming months. Then moving on to the general expenditures accounts. The one that I wanted to address, the building maintenance and repairs, we continue to have something, kind of high priced things come to our attention that we have to address, that we really can't wait for next budget year or other ways to fund. Just recently, we had a plumbing issue, one of the outside faucets cracked and we had to spend some money there. And the HVAC, We just had a full assessment done on our HVAC system by a contractor that the town uses. And it is something that we're gonna have to start doing. So some preventative maintenance that we haven't done in the past. It's gonna be about $12,000 a year to get this done, and it's done quarterly, so 4 times a year, about $3,000 every time they come. I think it's probably gonna be a good idea going forward. You know, we no longer have a new building, and we definitely have to get on top of some of the HVAC repairs and just general maintenance and cleaning there. So probably not gonna have a huge impact on this budget. But next fiscal year, we'll probably have to absorb some of that $12,000 into it.
Have you given any thought to bringing in some kind of inspector, qualified inspector, to look at the whole building and give us an idea of what's gonna be coming up?
Yeah, so exactly, I'm doing it by way of, each utility, you know, essentially, you know, the plumbing, the HVAC. And so this week, I'm glad you brought it up. This week we had the HVAC people come in and they spent all day going through the whole system and telling us, they actually found some critical things that needed to be repaired that were relatively dangerous. So we did that. So we started with HVAC. Appleby Plumbing's been out quite a bit lately, actually. We've had some, issues with the septic, or the sewer rather. So they've gone over the drainage system. And then we also it took quite a long time, utility communications came out to look over our whole communication system and our servers. They went to each one of our satellites or tower sites and our building. And they're putting together a number of what they think is critically in need of repair right now or a replacement soon. As well as a maintenance agreement for the same thing, cleaning and maintaining, and even theirs goes a little more in depth where they can tell the equipment we have and how much power it's supposed to be giving out in terms of the radio waves and how much it is currently, and they can kind of tell us maybe what we have left in life-wise and some of that stuff. A lot of the radio equipment is about 20 years old, so it's going to be something that we're going to be coming in. Not the coming months, but probably next year, we're gonna start looking at ways to fund a project like that, a large project like that, by way of congressional funding or grants or capital projects. So we're starting on the ground level phase of that, trying to get an idea of what we need and what it looks like right now.
Including, I was thinking about, you know, things like the roof, the windows,
Yeah.
It's getting a little older now.
It is, yeah. So we really haven't experienced many roof issues. We had some leaks, I think, but that was associated with the HVAC. There's some pavement issues in the back, starting to collapse in certain spots. There's some fencing issues, which I'll probably address in the next fiscal year. We did consider that in the budget that we put forward. But yeah, we're kind of taking it one piece at a time. I don't know if one contractor come in and just look at everything that might be out there. It's kind of be once over, but right now I'm kind of looking at what we need to address right now.
The building's been a nightmare since day one. The
Yeah.
HVAC never was sized correctly. There's been a ton of problems, and this town is always reactive and not proactive with not just that building, all our municipal buildings. It's when it's the problem, then they fix it. And Carl had been working on that, to have somebody kind of assess everything, but that fell by the wayside.
Yeah, so Carl was the one that actually told us to contract this
Right.
HVAC company to get the maintenance program, because the other town buildings were experiencing the same thing. So he kind of took the lead and suggested we did that. So that's where the HVAC overalls come from so far. The other thing that's gonna be a problem, I think, and right, it's really not, because we're going negative in the fuel account. But we anticipated to go negative, and they bounced off, what, the insurance exchange or
No, the outside jobs.
the job funds balance that out at the end of the year. But, gas prices, I don't know if anybody saw the pumps recently. It's, I don't know that we're projected for that type of an increase. So we're gonna keep tracking that and see how much we're spending. But yeah, I think we're gonna be spending considerably amount in the next 3 months, 4 months of this budget cycle on gas. That's all I have for the operating. This one.
And we're gonna be whittling down all budgets.
Yeah, we're gonna start to, we're, but they didn't want to.
Which I think is a good one.
Chairman, will you like me to go on to
Yeah,
the,
just going through the message, no
yeah.
question.
so the budget process update. So I kind of under the impression, and let me know if I'm wrong, no news is good news, I haven't got recalled to the Board of Finance. So I think we're just kind of waiting to see, what happens with the, Carl's budget essentially at this point. I haven't been asked to come back. But I think, everybody's happy with what we presented. The off budget accounts. So. We're gonna be discussing some of these, but we can't really go over off budget account without talking about some of the, purchase requests. So. We provided obviously the off budget account summary. The police insurance exchange did get merged with the town account, so it's no longer our account, the town's gonna be managing that account. And the driver safety fund that is currently at $56,560. I will be asking later in today's meeting, for a few expenses to come out of there, one being the stalker, radar units for our new vehicles. That is gonna be
21.
60, yes, it's 6 units and all the accessories go with that, it's 21,468,000. And then some, police patrol bicycles, we're asking for 5 bicycles and some accessories. To restart our, police bike, unit. That's $9,330, so that's gonna bring that account down to $25,762. If approved tonight. And then same thing with the police canine fund. It's currently budgeted, we have $14,124. I am asking for, to spend $11,789 out of that account. To outfit a new police, pickup truck for their canine unit for Canine Sky and, Sergeant Detective Williams. That'll leave $2,335 in that account. It's off budget.
I have a question for you. Regarding the stalker radar, in last month, there's a lead time of 55 days. Is that going to coincide with the new vehicles, the fleet vehicles that are coming in?
Yeah, so we're trying to get the equipment ahead of time. So we're
Okay,
kind of, a lot of the equipment you'll see, we'll be purchasing the next 3 months. We're kind of waiting on the sick patrol cars. Waiting for Board of Finance, and we have to figure out the financing piece of that, before those get ordered, and the earliest we'll probably order them is June. So I think we're gonna be fine with the lead time there. I wanna have the units in place for, I don't wanna delay our upfitter, our vendor that puts all the equipment in by not having the equipment.
right.
So I wanna get everything here and ready to go before the cars are even here,
Okay, that's good.
so,
Thank you.
yep. And we anticipate using a local vendor for that, the AEP stand for, do you know?
Advance,
It's equipment,
yeah. Product.
it's a local vendor that does the upfitting for, a lot of, mostly, DOT. But he has started doing, police and fire vehicles as well. So he's a local vendor, and I went and visited his shop, looks like he's more than capable, and he had worked for Wayland before. So we're happy to use a local, taxpayer vendor. Personnel matters. Like I said, we have the 2 dispatcher vacancies right now, which we're going to be filling shortly. And I have, 1 entry-level officer position, which we have tested for, and we're in the background phase of that. I think they're taking polygraphs right now. They're gonna be taking those that pass the polygraph will be taking psychological tests as well. Once those are complete, then we will have a completed background packet. We have an idea of which candidates are passing and which ones we're gonna bring forward to you. You'll see the top 3 candidates remaining, for consideration for entry-level, police officer hiring, in the coming months. So yeah, obviously that's your selection, the best, one of three, where you choose the best and to be the best. We have one officer that is on military leave right now. She's on training with the Air Force. She'll be away for 11 days on unpaid leave. But you covered D and C status and all those things, right?
Yes.
So we're moving on to professional development.
So for professional development, just going back to even January and February, officers attended the crisis intervention training, CIT training, and that was Sergeant Mikowski and Officer M. Falme. So their training emphasized on better understanding of mental illness, including substance use disorders, how it affects a person's life, communications, and de-escalation skills, amongst a bunch of other things. But they seemed to really enjoy that class, and the class was really excited to have our officers in that class, as we have never attended before. So they were very excited to have Saybrook officers in that training. Also in February, we had Sergeant Mikowski and Sergeant Mora train in triple certification, which is OC, baton and handcuffing training. So now we have 3 officers that are trained in that. Master Sergeant DeMarco is also a trainer. So a lot of times we'll do that training that coincides with firearms training, and we do that yearly. Officer Kostick and I attended a 2-day victim engagement training in February, which talked about our sort of justice processes and like the youth diversion team. We got a lot of information for that, for continuing or developing the youth diversion team with youth and family services. So that was a great class that we learned a lot of different things. And currently, myself, Chief Detective Sergeant Williams and Sergeant Ciccone are in the FBI Command College training that we took today, and then the next 2 days, which deal with engaging in leadership, building relations and resiliency, leadership in the investigation of violent crimes, critical incidences, human performance and wellness. So we had a lot of that training today, which was really great. And for EMT, I just got the schedule this morning, so that is going to start in May. Very excited.
What company are you using for that?
So we are using an individual, John McFarland, who works with AMR, which is American Medical Response. So I used to work with him or for him a long time ago. He's a great trainer, trains a lot of individuals. He's been a supervisor there for many, many years. So.
But he's coming to the police
To the
department?
police department,
Oh,
yeah,
that's
so
great.
we'll be doing days and evenings, different training. And hopefully, I think 7 officers, hopefully, can have training.
And the cost for that?
$1,200 per person.
Thank you.
I just want to touch base on the hero scheduler, the status of that.
So I just sent out an email recently about hero scheduling. We're kind of still in like the first phase, so I haven't done training with officers yet, but we're using it as a background to see our training. For our scheduling, and we've also been having meetings with Amy in finance, getting the whole payroll system in place. So we've been working on that. There's a bunch of different spreadsheets and different things from the town hall and everything, making it all work, but it seems like it's going to work. So we're quite excited, but we're still in the process of working that, and it's going smoothly so far.
Is Hero going to be doing a demonstration for us? I know that was talked about.
Yeah, well, we were gonna, once we populated, there was a lot of data entry we had to do, the schedules. So once we had it up, we wanted to bring it here, and we were just go through the software with you and kind of show you what it looked like and capabilities and stuff. But I didn't want to just give you a generic, it would look like a bunch of empty spreadsheet without us populating the actual schedules in. So I want to show you what the officers see on the phones and what we see and how we control it. So one of the upcoming police commission meetings, we can do that. We just throw it up there and I can show you on my phone. So I think it's a better demo to do, to actually show you the real world, like how it's gonna work and how it's.
Oh, versus someone from Hero
Yeah, and if we
doing the
did,
demo.
and if we wanted more of that, I mean, they'd be willing to do
Okay.
that. But I thought to actually see it, what the schedule looks like to us would be a little more impactful and in order to make you understand a little better. And then I wanted to, sorry. So I met with Officer Falme. Nice to meet you.
You can sit it, Archie.
Okay, so sorry, I struggle with his name. And you know, he's a very impressive young man, and he's currently undergoing training at the college level, getting his master's degree in it's behavioral
MBA.
ABA?
Behavioral and
applied behavioral analyst. And he has a lot of interest in the CIT, the critical intent training, becoming an instructor, the autism awareness world. And he had a lot of really great innovative ideas that he brought to me that really pairs with my vision for this department. And I wanted him to kind of speak to the commission a little bit and kind of give his vision, give some of these programs that he assists with bringing forward. One of it is the autism awareness piece, and a lot of it has to do with the overarching theme of de-escalation and critical incident response training for our officers, and essentially to have a liaison in the department that could assist us with all these things. If we're not going straight to youth and family, whether we can work with DSCF, make referral of their mental health providers, other agencies outside of the police department, other law enforcement agencies that might be able to assist. So I just wanted to give him the floor a little bit, and he had a lot to talk about. I thought it was all very valuable for you to hear.
Thank you.
So I'm gonna pass those around.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, they're all a little bit different, so. They're not all the things, I can share each one.
So, good day, everyone. I know last time you guys met me, my name was Barrett. Of course, I changed my name. I'm so sorry for that. So my name is Officer Mfalme now. I am Mfalme,
Could you spell it?
Mfalme.
Thank you, because when you said the name before, I don't remember hiring you. It's your face right now, and I'm like, I don't remember that name. Okay.
Okay, so I did my bachelor's in psychology, and while I was doing my bachelor's in psychology, I primarily focused on autism. Then I am in my master's degree to do ABA. I have 2 semesters left to complete my ABA degree, my ABA master's degree. I'm focusing primarily on law enforcement where ABA concerns. So my vision is to create a community for everyone that's on the spectrum in the town of Old Saybrook and for neighboring towns too if they want to collaborate. However, I want to create a community for them in the town of Old Saybrook, and I want to do that multiple step process, correct? So I have some statistics that will I believe show the emphasis on why this is important. 1 in 36 children in America is diagnosed with autism or some other type of behavioral illness. They're 7 times likely to interact with law enforcement. Currently at Post, we have limited training for law enforcement officers as it relates to dealing with individuals that are on the spectrum or that are battling other illnesses related to mental health. They're 20 times more likely, you're 20% more likely to get stopped by us, and they're 5% by 21, they're 5% of them are arrested. So 80% of law enforcement officers cannot identify autism, and it's 33 to 50% higher to experience a use of force incident with us. This brings me to a sad but alarming topic. Officer Henry lost his uncle in Hartford. The first gentleman that was shot by Hartford PD is Officer Henry's uncle, and it was in a behavioral illness state that he unfortunately lost his life. So that was really close to home. Seeing him deal with that and also his family go through that was pretty painful to see firsthand. So my goal is to prevent that in Saybrook. So I came up with what I call the Autism and Other Mental Disability Registry. It looks like this. So it's optional for the caregivers and the parents in Old Saybrook to come down to the police department and give us the name, address, date of birth, and other descriptors of their loved ones that are on the spectrum, and we can have a list of the individuals that are on the spectrum. We could interact with them and change the way they see us as law enforcement. Because currently, as we're all aware, the police is looked at as a punishing stimulus. I want us to see more of a reinforcing one. So by breaking that barrier with the population in Old Saybrook, hopefully when we do have to respond to one of these incidents, they already know one of us or know or recognize the uniform and can associate that with a sense of familiarity, and it won't escalate to that situation.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Are you doing this as a project as to finish up your degree?
No, sir. This is so also this is not unique to Saybrook. There is multiple other police departments throughout the state that have initiated this within their police department. I have a driving company. It's called Linked. She goes around and she does free and sometimes paid classes for law enforcement, and she has given me an array of resources that the law enforcement officers could use while on duty. So we have her that will come into the police department and also offer us an extensive amount of trainings as well. Her child is also on the spectrum and he goes to a day school in East Lyme. So she's regularly traveling throughout Old Saybrook, familiar with the town. Also, I have in my Army unit, there is a mental health clinician, Jean. She's been a state clinician for over 35 years. She's trained a lot of clinicians in her practice also, and she's willing to come down to the police department and give us continuing trainings on how to respond to people that are on the spectrum as well. So I primarily just want to break the disconnect between the community and everyone else that's in Old Saybrook that may be on the spectrum or may be battling some other emotional or mental illnesses. That brings me to we need something that or a stimulus that would further propel this. And I believe a autism trained canine would be an amazing addition as well. It's been tested and tried among multiple police departments throughout the state of Connecticut. Chief's police department, as also a former police department, has a autism trained canine. It has definitely reduced the use of force tremendously when we interject a autism trained canine in the mix. Most of these canines are given to police department free of cost. They also help with fundraising to outfit a cruiser for the dog as well. So the cost will be mitigated primarily by fundraisings and community outreaches and stuff like that.
How are the dogs trained to recognize
It's not,
autism?
it's not so much a recognition, it's emotional support dog.
Okay,
So it's really a tool to kind of calm and de-escalate. And they're seeing eye dogs, is that what they were typically? Is that what they're getting? So they were dogs that were bred and trained for the seeing eye service. Yeah, and then they kind of, the ones that fail out of that,
they go on
to
to,
transition to like emotional support dogs. So it's not just for autism, it's for a lot of trauma. They've been successful in a lot of agencies. A lot of times they're paired up with an officer or a social worker. And just to have access to one for the region, it would be really nice and really important. And the registry that he was speaking of, obviously it's completely voluntary, based on the parents or the guardians, whether they want to comply with that or assist. Where I saw it in a practical use of why that was so critical and so important, and such a great tool for law enforcement to have in Hamden is missing persons. So if somebody on the spectrum, is missing, a lot of times our response has to be a little different. And that's what I want to train the officers with this training coming up that we're going to bring here through Blue Bridge. And we need to know certain things, and a photo helps too, but we need to know if they're attracted to water, attracted to trains, attracted to highways. There's things that are a little different, well, in terms of our response, when we're responding to somebody that's on the spectrum. And if there's certain catalysts and things that there would be a magnet for some of these people that we need to know, when we're responding, as opposed to going there, interviewing the parents, finding this information out. It could be already too late if somebody's running for water, or running for a highway, or running for a train tracks. So that's why this registry is very important. There's a lot of other information that they in this volunteer work they can provide, what the parents think is important for us to know. But it's just a way for them for us to have that in file, for us to communicate that with us. But I was really pleased to see Officer Fowley really kind of take the reins and run with this for Old Saybrook. He did a lot of work into this, and we're in the infancy state, and we still have to iron out a little bit. But I think we're going to be, these are programs that we're going to be tracking and launching in the near future here.
You be collaborating with the schools?
Probably youth and family.
Okay,
Um,
just to get the word out, like this program exists, like what is your means of promoting the program?
Yeah, it will probably go through youth and family and especially education department at the
Okay.
schools. But we could put it on our website, we just make it available for people. We would market it ourselves on social media. But we just want to make sure we have something available. So for those that wanna follow through with it.
Is the dog specific to autism training, or is that you're taking an existing canine and training him in addition? Like
There's
with
some
an
training.
additional skill?
It's emotional support, so it's not really just for autism. It's there's some skill set. It's not as like a patrol dog where you need 4 or 5 months of training.
Okay,
But
it's you get an additional dog for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, Sky serves some of the purposes for us, especially for our officers. Coming on shift, coming off shift, like it really is great. It calms you, and we want to bring that to the public too.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
And a lot of times it's used in times of loss at schools. We'll bring it there, trying to help calm, and it's we'll bring in a lot of dogs, 4 or 5 dogs from our neighboring law enforcement agencies that have those resources, and kind of flood the schools with the dogs, just like the schools are flooded with social workers for the days when there is some traumatic event at the schools, or there's a loss outside of the school that impacts the school. It's just a resource that we want to be able to bring and have. It's like the officer said, it's kind of a low cost option for us to do that. It doesn't. A lot of these nonprofits will fund most of it. But it's something we're exploring. It's something that we're launching or bringing to you as a proposal today. These are just pretty much ideas of part of an overall project and direction that we're going in.
And would there be coordination with the person providing the training that we're talking about from New Jersey?
Yeah. So he wouldn't. After he does his training, he's kind of done unless we bring him back.
But I'm thinking that individual might have views about the utility and the structure of a program like we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. So Jerry, he's a friend. I brought him in Hamden, and I didn't know him. It was actually a referral from a mother that was in the Hamden community that her child was autistic, and she had found him, I think, through social media. And I hired him a contract with Hamden, and it was just one of the most impactful and really valuable trainings that I've ever been through, and I was able to bring it to the officers. So he's one phone call away, and like if I need to run any of this by him, he's 100% the resource I would use to at least to try to get an idea what we should be doing and what direction and how we develop the program.
Do we have any information right now about the prevalence of autism in our community?
Do you have any data specifically about Old Saybrook?
Definitely. So Old Saybrook in the town of Old Saybrook, we have a little bit more than the national average, which the average is 13%. We have neighboring communities also that have a lot of schools and programs for juveniles with autism. In East Lyme and also in Westbrook. I think there's a much larger community. Primarily on the shoreline, we're seeing that the community juveniles with autism is much higher than the older population because most of the older population is now undiagnosed. But with the push in schools, we are seeing an uptick of autism diagnosis down in Old Saybrook.
It might be associated with some of the awareness too. I think a lot of things were undiagnosed like 20, 30 years ago. I think a lot of things were undiagnosed 20 years, 30 years ago. But yeah, I mean, and that's something that we would present, we would get all the data and I would collaborate with Youth and Family and the Board of Ed to bring some of those numbers together and see, this program makes sense for us. I think the awareness of our officers, just because, they don't have to live in Old Saybrook, for us to have contact with individuals. So I think the training for officers is valuable either way. But when we start diving into resources like the dog, we should probably have the data for our community, to see if that makes sense or not.
Do other shoreline communities have this already in place?
So the closest one I think is, Yale might be the closest to us, right?
Brentford.
Does Brantford have one?
I think Brentford works closely with Link,
Okay.
Link. So if not yet, then very soon.
Yeah. So Linked is another mother that put together a program that I think her son is autistic and she offers the training. She's really great, free training, and it's also she puts together these kits for all our cruisers, and it's like, is it stimulus kits or is it?
It's sensory kits.
Can we touch the, yeah. That's cool.
What's it called? Link, if you want to look it up, it's called Link.
LINKED.
So she outfitted all the Hampton cruisers, like 40 cruisers in Hampton, with all the kits, and it was a worthwhile investment, and they do get used. It's just, if you don't have it, you have nothing to go off. You gotta hope the parents have something to help you out with and try to work through de-escalating some things. It's a good tool and it takes up about this much space in the car, so why not have it?
I'd like to see Old Saybrook at the forefront of some of this stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's progressive. I think we need to do stuff like this.
I agree. You gotta support every community member,
Yeah.
and, have the resources to do that and the training. My experience was a lot of officers would encounter people on the spectrum, and their first reaction is they would think they're intoxicated,
Yeah.
especially the adults. And sometimes it is tough to to tell, and your approach and how you respond as an officer to intoxicate a person or somebody with an illness is completely different. So just the awareness piece alone is huge.
Yeah, it's invaluable.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, and that's why I wanted, I was pretty impressed. He came to my office and he sat down and, we're talking and I'm like, what, I want to have you, let the commission know and kind of put it forward and let you know the
Yeah.
direction we want to go in.
I really appreciate this effort. This is beyond wonderful, really.
It's awesome.
What? I had a question, but it's lost now. Will you be doing possibly any professional development with some of the other officers on this? At a later time down the road?
Yeah, so that's where the CIT, the critical incident techniques come in, and my goal, I think, eventually would be to be our trainer or instructor, and get the whole department certified. So I think it's valuable to have some people certified, but for how the entire department is really the level that I want to get us to. It's probably just as important as the EMT training, to be honest. to be able to de-escalate and have those tools in your tool belt to assist with de-escalating, speaking to people a certain way so you don't have to use force. Understanding that you have options besides force, and you know you can slow things down. It's a different way to go about things, a way about the job, if you will.
We don't have any data that of incidents that have happened before that we found out were autism after, you know.
After the fact.
Do we have anything like that, Stephanie, that we would know if it was autism?
I don't know if we can get the data on that. A lot of times I know us as officers are able to, after speaking with family members, and know that autism is in the family or diagnosed or not undiagnosed.
Well, the reason
From
why I asked
communication,
that,
but I don't think we'd be able to get statistics from.
well, the reason why I asked is because of the HIPAA law. I don't want us to get.
Yeah, and that's why this is really voluntary.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, have we ever had incidents?
So I will share, and I was going to share, and I don't know if this individual is on the spectrum or not. But this past week, we had an incident, with a missing person, it's an emotional disturbed person, that our officers responded to. And it was somebody that was, suicidal, there was some self-harm, ideations. And also started tracking them and, on foot, and they went through the woods and they ended up on the highway. Officer Swab did a great job. He was able to locate this individual, and when he located him, the guy attacked him. He threw a rock at his chest, hit him in the chest, and the guy was trying to jump into traffic on Route 9. Officer Swab was able to wrap his arms around the guy, pull him off the highway. Nobody was injured. He was able to safely remove the guy from the highway, and then the guy ran off into the woods and eluded us for a little while. We were able to use some police canines to track him and locate him and get him to the hospital. The whole incident, it was, you know, could have been ugly. You know, we're up on Route 9, cars are swerving around their officer and the individual. And he used proper tactics, proper police tactics. You know, and I think, you know, other tools in his tool belt might have been useful. In that situation, I think he did exactly what he needed to do and just try to get the guy off the highway. You know, there's probably it's a great training opportunity for us to kind of revisit some of our tactics and communication amongst ourselves, and how we operate on the highway, knowing that we have so many highways and waterways and train tracks around us. So I'm using it as you know, thank the Lord that everybody's all right moment, and an opportunity to look at the videos and to maybe look at it in an incident debrief scenario and kind of figure out, well, maybe we could have done this better, maybe this would have been safer, maybe this approach would have been better. We did have another officer, he took the wherewithal and got up on the highway and stopped traffic. Before, well, right as this incident was going on, so it limited the amount of cars going by the officer. He did drop his phone on the highway and it was run over and destroyed, so that's how close he was to cars. So, you know, they operated really well as a team and they did a good job, but I think there's some room for improvement as well. But that's just an example this week of an emotionally disturbed person that we had to handle. So it does happen, you know, like I can't tell you the diagnosis on that person, but it was somebody that wanted to harm themselves and was running for traffic, so.
But if I understood, ultimately the individual was safe and in the
Yeah.
hospital.
Yeah, we located him later with assistant state police and we got him to the hospital and then he got care. So we'll probably also get receiving charges for assaulting the officer. But the ultimate goal was to get him to the hospital that night. So,
Would you be moving forward with having the sensory kits in the car? Because those
Yeah.
are really important.
so it's a really low cost way to do it. And I think there's actually a grant that she's willing to give us, the mom that runs the program. So we're 100% going forward with that. That'll be in the short time. So we're gonna be inviting her, officer. So it's told me April is the Autism Awareness Month.
Yeah.
So I wasn't aware of that.
And
So-
their designation is the puzzle pieces that are around too.
Yeah, right, for April.
Yeah, well, just in general, like if you see that puzzle piece,
Yep,
it's associated with autism.
okay.
Yeah. So,
And we do actually have the puzzle piece, pins that we'll wear. For the
Oh,
whole
that's
month. So we have them for every officer.
So we're gonna invite her to come visit in.
they recognize that too, so having that on not only in April, but year round would give them also a sense of, you know, calm, that they can connect, they get it. And you can use different tactics to de-escalate the person as well verbally, because they don't understand what that means.
Mhm.
So it's kind of important.
Yeah, oh, yeah. So, yeah, we're gonna move forward in April with that, and I think it's perfect timing.
Yeah.
And, we're gonna get that going. I don't know,
If you
anything
have
about
any
you all?
training or any type of introduction, if you could let the commission know, I mean, I would like to.
Yeah, I'll invite the whole commission, so when we find
Yeah.
a date that she's gonna come and visit us and deliver those, I'll invite the whole commission. We'll make it, you know, that out of it.
One of the other things I wanted to ask is anyone, I know, we've talked about, different languages that certain officers are able to speak, but does anyone know sign language?
Not that I'm aware of. I think that there's a school for the deaf in the area, isn't there?
West Hartford.
West Hartford.
I know there's one in, up this way.
There used to be one in Chester.
Chester?
Yeah.
Yeah, my aunt attended one up this way. Yeah, but no, we don't do it right now.
Thank you.
So. Guess we're on to the activity
Thank you
report.
for your presentation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
thank
great.
you.
Really,
Still does.
really appreciate your
We
being
kind of
here.
went off on our own with this, so.
Yeah,
You
kind of
can tell how
nice.
excited we are.
I'm gonna go on to activity report. I was gonna, speak to that.
You want these, Ben?
It is on the highway, the activity report, but I already addressed that. Let's just give you an update on some of the stuff. And I'm on to the data, the stats. So we're tracking down everything for the month, and you know, we have to consider the snow and the weather too. So our crimes are, everything is down. But so is our activity, our motor vehicle activity and our patrol checks. But we will continue to monitor those and make sure that as the weather gets better, that we are increasing our activity, getting back to our baseline, if you will. But I'll give the officers a pass. In the last month and a half, it was bitterly cold. We had 1.5 feet of snow out there. I know they're still being very active, and I know that they're out there actively looking for reckless drivers and DUIs and things like that. So I don't think this was a great reflection of the workload. But you know, I think there's a lot more going on there. We only have one use of force in the month, and it was the one I just told you about. They also had to use force to pull that person out of the highway in March. It's not on the stats, but I know it existed, and because I saw the use of force form. So I just wanted to address that. So we're tracking low use of force, which is great. Everything's down, including our activity, unfortunately, but like I said, we're gonna track and make sure that we're back to normal with that as the weather breaks, and it has. But there was no outliers, there was really no increases, everything is low. There's really nothing, no big cases to brief you on. There's a few things going on in terms of the financial world. But there's still active cases. I don't want to speak to them in a public setting. But if there's any commissioner had any questions about any of these stats, I'd be willing to address it.
I actually have a question.
Yeah.
For the assist other agencies, do we keep a spreadsheet of what surrounding towns that we're assisting?
No, but it's in the CAD remarks, so there's not like just a spreadsheet. But if I can look at each one of those and look in the CAD remarks and see what the assist others are. So I would tell you, it's gonna be mainly the state police on the highway or mutual aid with fire department calls or units
Okay.
calls.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
And I assume we had to call in a dog. It was.
Yep, that's true. So yeah, state police came and assisted with the dog, so
So
David.
we call it assistance also.
We do, oh yeah, we do. Essentially State Police, East Lyme has been great too. They have a canine on duty for both shifts. And we're more than willing to send it in to help us whenever we need it. So our neighboring partners, they've been great to us. Troop F, Clinton, Westbrook, Essex, no Limes. Really have no complaints. If I call or our dispatchers call or Lieutenant Walker calls, and so are we. And we're more than willing to help them, but it's reciprocated immensely. And the area chiefs too. I like to put it out there. They've been very supportive of me. Coming into a new area, they know I'm from New Haven County. And Chief DeMayo, Chief Drum, Chief Glenn, they've all been great and very helpful.
Good, yeah, that's great.
Giving you the lowdown on Middletown.
Exactly. Yeah, the Middletown Court has been amazing too. State's Attorney Gaylor has been great. So everything's working well and everybody's working well together. So that's all I have for activity report. The golf cart license plate, we don't have our submissions to you yet. How would you like those submissions when we get them?
Can you
How many do
see?
you have?
It will be, well, there's 399 students that go with.
I
So,
don't think they're for pre-K, but it's just
okay, yeah, so maybe it's just,
for kindergarten through.
I would especially
I have a suggestion. Can you post them in the police building and we can come?
Individually
through.
come one by one.
Isn't that the easiest way?
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Yeah, it goes a little decorations, so.
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually.
Did you give them a template to work with?
Yeah, so we had was licensed, it was actually the actual
The
license.
actual license plate, just blank, yeah. Well, just let us know when it's up, so we can come
Maybe
to
we'll do it when we invite,
judge.
the lady from LinkedIn. So we put them up and so you guys will be there anyway if you want to attend that event. And
Okay, how does the timing on that work though?
I think the art teacher said we should have them by the first week of April. So
It'll take time putting up 399.
Might be.
Submissions.
We do have a couple officers.
yeah, that's
We have a
true.
couple officers on light duty right now, so I think we'll be okay. But yeah, we'll do that, and we also, we have to pick soon because we gotta send them out for printing,
Yeah.
Right,
so.
That's such a fun idea.
Yeah, the school was very happy.
Yeah.
We also have to figure out a procedure because we can't debate. So we'll have to, rank our top 10 or something
Or
and
how
see how
many-
many overlap.
How
and
many
then
you wanna
just pull them
pick?
by a hat.
You might be able to pick more than one if you want to pick the, 5 different ones or
Right.
one from every
Yeah.
grade, thing.
Yeah.
It's up to you guys. What you wanna do,
Oh, don't leave it up to us.
so, yeah, but we have options.
What do you think?
What a great would be a drag deal.
The fleet update, yeah, we still are experiencing some repairs on Tahoes. We did have 3 engines replaced, under warranty, so that worked out pretty well. We're gonna keep tracking and making sure that, we're getting the service done if we're having issues with these cars. So they can see the patterns and they know that to replace the engines if needed. We have 3 cars on order. And we have 6 waiting board finance approval and financing for the 6th patrol, which I'm hoping to have ordered in June. That's pretty much what we have for the fleet update.
When do you think you'll be getting the approval from the board of finance?
Yeah, it'll be a town meeting, but yeah, so we just met with the last vendor for enterprise, which is the financing. So Leanne should have a pretty good idea of how she wants to fund the 6 cars, and then she can present it to the board of finance. So we're getting close. I just don't really have the nitty gritty in terms of the financing piece just yet, though. Then we have discussion for possible action on the Stalker radar purchase for $21,468,000. I did provide a quote. It's for 6 units for the 6 new patrol cars. And all the accessories and antennas and things that go with it.
These are essential.
They are in this equipment we're already using, so we had an option of going with a different brand. There really wasn't any cost savings to go with a different brand. There's 2 brands that really do it. It was a little more, but these officers are already accustomed to this system and the remote, so I felt good and we like it, so. It seemed like it was, the smart thing to do is just stay with what we have. And we can, some of our old units will be able to replace, use some of the parts that are still usable and place them down the line.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve funding from the driver safety off budget account to purchase 6 Stalker radar units in the amount of total amount of $21,468.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
So the next one is a discussion for the purchase of 5 police patrol bicycles and accessories that go along with them. To really get our police bicycle unit up and running again. We are planning on entering a 3 officers, like to get a total of 5 officers trained, but right now we're in June, we're gonna assist Hamden and Quinnipiac University with a training course hosted by International Police Mountain Bike Association. They pretty much do the training for all law enforcement in the nation for mountain bike police officers. So we're gonna do that in June, the first week of June. It's a week-long course. Probably gonna send 3 of our officers initially and then another 2 later in the summer. But we need bikes to do that. So that's what these 5 are. We're doing 5 bikes because you need various sizes for different officers based on their officers' heights.
And we have officers interested who would use each of the different sizes.
Yeah, so we had actually quite a bit of that interest, right?
Either 5 or 7 officers replied that they wanted to take.
I'm sorry,
To 5 to 7 officers stated they want to take the class.
and they would need the different sizes.
Yeah, the only one we didn't do an extra large because we didn't have anybody that height. It's all based on the height of the officer.
Sure.
And we only had 1 officer that was of a smaller stature, so that's why we only did 1 small. The other ones are two medium, 2 large.
Got it.
There's 5 bikes.
5 bicycles total for a total of $9,330.40. From policebikestore.com, which is pretty much where everybody goes to buy police bikes. There's not many options.
There was some discussion about whether the accessories included the helmets or not.
They didn't about the order, they'll do that for the uniform account. So they'll order all the officers, the bike shorts, the bike shirts and the helmets,
Okay.
through our uniform account, which is in the operating.
Everybody, so I entertain a motion for the approval of the funding from the driver safety off budget account for the, sorry, I don't have any right now.
I'll make a motion for you, for the driver safety off budget account for the purchase of bikes and police bikes store,
5 bikes.
5 bikes. The word 5 isn't here, so.
No, it wasn't there yet, but in the amount of,
In the amount of $9,330.40.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions? Okay,
Go ahead.
do you want to say anything before I entertain a motion for the next?
No,
We talked about this one already.
yeah, so, well, the next one is the K9 budget.
Yeah.
For the police vehicle. So that was, this one is,
Wait, that's
It's a
for the
motion
truck.
intention.
for the truck, yeah, the police K9 truck. This is the equipment to outfit it, the lights, the sirens, the cage for the dog, the platform, the equipment in the back. It's all the emergency equipment or equipment associated with the K9 itself. So we have $16,000 in the off budget account for K9, I believe. And I wanted to use $11,789 for that equipment, and it'll be that the outfitter I spoke of in Old Saybrook, AEP. That'll be doing the outfit on the vehicle once it comes in, and that's one of the cars that's already on order. That's why I wanted to get this purchase order done and approved, so we can have the equipment ordered and ready to go.
Well, I'll make that motion to approve, funding from the K9 off budget account for the purchase, or for the purpose of outfitting a vehicle for use for the K9 program in the amount of $11,789.71.
Second,
Jackie, you have discussion?
I just have a question. So the purchases for the equipment and the vehicle?
No, it's just the equipment and the outfitting, so it's the labor, the emergency equipment, the lights. The vehicle was purchased through the vehicle fund that the town had already done for us. There's one of the 3 cars that were ordered.
Okay, so we're not, are we or are we not purchasing a K-9 vehicle?
We
Or
are.
we purchasing?
Not with this account though. This is just the outfitting.
Okay,
So Joe's motion was for the outfitting.
For the outfitting.
okay, all right, thank you for the clarification.
Sorry.
Any other
Okay, no worries.
discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions?
So the next one I'm actually gonna pull, and I'll tell you why. It's not because we're not gonna do it, we're 100% doing it. When I thought about this, and you know, a lot of this training has to do with search and rescue. And officer awareness and how we respond to those situations. So I think we're gonna be using emergency management funds, which we have a surplus of funds. For the training associated with this autism awareness and search and rescue component. So I don't think we needed to use the off-budget police admin fund. I was gonna use operating expense through emergency management.
Okay,
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, so I just, you know, I took a little thought process, but when we got around.
Might even get grants too.
Yeah, there is a lot of grants for that, and that's actually one of the things that the Link Foundation will help us with too.
So I have a question. If you're going to do this training, I guess it's on a particular day in
Mhm.
time. How is it that you'll get all the officers?
So we might have to do, this might have to be an annual training to get all of our officers, because we won't get them all in one day.
Right.
We're gonna try to get as many as we can this first year, and then we're also gonna open it up to the fire, Board of Ed, EMS, neighboring law enforcement, community, youth and family, and the commission. To try to get as many people to see this as possible and, you know, be trained and be enlightened by it. But it's gonna be a multi-year thing to get our entire complement of 25 officers. You know, first year, we're trying to tackle.
That's why we have our expert here who'll be trained as an ABA
Right.
analyst.
Right, so I think in, you know, 2, 3 years, and this is something that I want to refresh on every year anyway. For $3,000, it's well worth it. Typically the training is about $3,500 is what it costs for the training. So what is something we're gonna really think on doing?
Have you been able to secure a location to do that? I don't.
So I quickly talked to Brett about it.
Okay.
That's my preference if he's willing, and
Okay.
can fit it in. If not, you know, we have. You know, we could talk to the Board of Ed on an off day, maybe use an auditorium.
Okay.
I mean, there's a few different options. A fireman's field, they have the pavilion there.
Okay.
Weather gets nice, we can do outside, like, we could think about some options, but, you know, and then might see how big or small we're gonna make it at that point.
Depending on how the vote goes, maybe we could have the pavilion.
That's right. Or a seaside park.
Fireman's building actually inside too, holds like, I think it's like 120 something people and they have TVs all over the place for training.
Oh, so that
But
might,
I don't know if you're thinking way more than that amount of
no, I
people.
think that would be suffice.
No, that
So
is,
I would talk to Joe about it and, cause my intent is to fully include them. I think. You know, if we had a situation where we need search and rescue or we need to all hands on deck, they're probably a number one resource besides PD. To really help us with that.
but that is a good facility too, because you guys have done your strategic planning there, where there's TVs all over the place. There's kind of like a dance floor, but yeah, obviously there wouldn't be dancing, but for a presenter to be there.
Yeah, we have some options. So.
But no, that's always that's a good spot too.
Yeah.
There might be dancing, I don't know. Okay, anything else, chief?
No, that's all I have.
There is any comment and anybody raised hands?
Nobody's raised their hands yet, but. You wanna ask for public comment?
Yeah, is there any public comment in the virtual audience?
Nobody's raised their hands.
Okay. We have
No one's
nobody
in
there. Okay. Comments from the chief?
Yeah, so I wanted to. Thank you, Renee. I know you're having a tough week and, you lost Chris.
Yep, thank you.
And, you haven't stopped helping me.
I'm the toughest person you're ever gonna hit in your entire
So,
Let me.
so she didn't miss a beat. I typically talk to her probably every day. And, I wanted to give her some space, but she kept helping me. And I wanted to acknowledge that, and
Thank you.
we're thankful for you, thankful the police department is as well. And we're sorry for your loss.
Thank you very much.
Also want to thank the commission. I know we've been putting a lot of hours in lately especially the captain selection. Been a lot of meetings and it's been a lot of reviewing videos and things after hours. And I just want to acknowledge the amount of time that that's taking. And I'm thankful because a lot of it is for the sport department and me. And it's critical for us going forward that we do this. But I just want to acknowledge the amount of effort that you're all putting in, and it's noted by me, and I wanted to speak to it in public, so thank you. Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Mark, I'll start with you.
First of all, I just wanna thank everybody in the police department for the great job they did during the snowstorm. I mean, I don't know how you guys do it. You guys are there and just thank you very much. But I'm concerned about the spring coming up and the safety of the officers with so many potholes. I don't know how you can address it with Bill, but there's a lot of potholes. I don't want these guys rushing to a fall, hit a pothole and get in a blowout. It really, it's bugging me, and I had to bring it up in the comments, and thank you very much for what you did. That's gonna be awesome.
Thank you, sir.
You just pulled pothole duty and I'm like, Bill Coffey will pick you up tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
I'll
You
try
get a
to-
knock on your door with your slippers
No,
on.
because there's a lot of them, and I'm concerned that, if they're speeding and they hit one and they did get a blowout, and then, we could have a problem,
If you see something, you can leave a message at Public Works. I know they have a running list.
Yeah.
No, it's one of the things we do too. I mean, if we see road hazards, we report them. The same thing with out street lights and things like that. It's, officers should be aware. I can make sure that they're reminded. Any road hazards, street lights, any issues around town, streets, side of town, things like that. We should be making the public works aware anyway. But I'll put a little reminder.
There was but spring is here. The potholes are blooming everywhere.
Yeah, kidding.
I haven't seen one pothole.
I don't drive, so.
I must not be on the right roads.
So I just wanted to thank you for the update that you gave us on email following the rain and windstorm that we had. I think it was just really good information for us to have as community stewards. So I just wanted to say thank you for that, and also to thank Officer Costick for coming out and helping me get my 2 grandkids' car seats installed in my car. That is a wonderful service, and I think a lot of people should really be aware of it, because it was just perfect community engagement, and she did a great job. So thanks to her.
I'll make sure she knows, and we have 2 officers certified in car installations, and we have car seats available for those that need them, that don't have them. And please get the word out, and we will continue to post it, and we do reminders on social media once in a while. But it's a great opportunity for the officers to engage with the public, especially new families, new moms and dads and grandparents. Just a little reminder on some of the safety measures that you gotta take as a parent too. So there's a lot of components to that program besides just buckling up a car seat, so.
It was astonishing to me to see how much was involved in it. It isn't, the way it was when my kids were little. So it was a good opportunity.
Thank you. I'll make sure we share that.
I have a question about that. So if you have an existing car seat in your car, like say when my daughter comes to visit, would they be able to come over to check it, or it's new, it has to be installed?
No,
Is
no,
it already pre-existing? It's
So we
okay
can
to
check
do that?
the Titans and make sure it's
Okay.
installed properly. We're more than happy to do that.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you.
This is more in the nature of old business. I've been thinking about the chaplain, and I think you were right to bring it to the commission. I don't think that's an operating decision. I think that's a policy decision, and I think the question whether we have a chaplain, if so, what the role of the chaplain is, and if so, who is the person filling that role, are all things that the commission should weigh in on. So I want to thank you for bringing it to us and express my view that contrary to a couple of the comments at the last meeting, there was no vote on anything, but there was kind of a message back to you. I, for one, think that you were right to bring it to us.
So do you think we need a vote, Chuck?
No, I don't think we need a vote. I think we've all expressed approval of the concept, I think.
Right.
Uh,
And I'd rather be transparent
Yeah.
and, you know, bring those things to you for the time to weigh in and at least an idea of what we're doing, just like tonight. You know, see what direction we're going in and where our thought process is. So you guys are part of the conversation and kind of know what the department's doing.
It might also be helpful if we have some heads up about it before coming into the meeting, because these kinds of decisions might need some, thinking on it ahead of time. So if in the future you see that there might be something like that, to just send it to us ahead of time.
yeah, I think he's done a pretty good job doing that so far.
Well, I'm not saying that he's failed in doing it, but I'm suggesting that
Keep it up.
we
Yeah.
need to have a little bit more information on something like what you're raising.
Yeah.
I am thrilled with the progression towards the new programs, like looking at the autism training, looking at the canine. I love that idea. That was awesome. Well done. I want to see Old Saybrook at the forefront. A town like this should be at the forefront of all of this. If it's not done in the shoreline, let's do it. Let's put it in place. If we have a need for it and we have a population that can benefit from it, that's what we should be doing. I absolutely love it. So really kudos. Well done.
Thank you.
I have a few things, but first and foremost, I definitely want to thank you for addressing us tonight and passing out literature and really helping us understand your vision and your mission. Obviously, we're all supporting that, so thank you. The other thing is reading the letter for Officer Fox. I really enjoyed hearing about that. To that point, I know that at some point in time, I believe it was back in our December meeting, we spoke about like having Officer of the Month and having that person, come here so we too can share our gratitude and acknowledge their great service. I don't know where we are with that or how that's working.
You know, I didn't follow up with that at all, but we
Okay.
can, some we can't.
I know there's a
think
lot going on,
We
but
do have a selection to make for Officer of the Year, though.
okay,
So we'll be addressing that in the next police mission meeting. Weigh in on that a little bit, and we have to make a selection for April, right? Is that what it was?
I think so.
Is that for the Exchange Club?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'll present, what I think and make sure that we're all on the same page.
and I couldn't remember if your thought process for the officer acknowledgement, was it monthly or quarterly? So just food for thought when you share what your intentions are.
Mhm.
Let's see, so, I always have my housekeeping list. The last month we spoke about the police department promotional process and we all received an outline. This is a great tool and it really sheds a lot of information and insight as to what the policy and procedure is. One of the things that I was wondering if you could just offer a little bit of clarity on is the mention of education. A lot of this, in my opinion, went in the direction of years of service for sergeant, master sergeant, and lieutenant. I was wondering, are you bringing that up when you post a position, your educational requirements, or are you putting that as part of the process so that the individual who's planning on posting for sergeant, master sergeant, and lieutenant has an idea of what the preliminary requirements are?
So that was my intent. So we drafted that with the union, so they had some
Okay.
weigh in on it. Right now, the labor contract doesn't state whether education is a requirement for promotion or not. The level of education rather. So that's why we omitted that. the years of service the union agreed to. That was something that is not in there, but we came to an agreement on that. I don't think the education is gonna be a huge sticking point, because I think it was something like 90% of our department has a bachelor's degree, right?
Mhm.
So I think, and that would be probably the level of education I would require.
Okay,
Um,
so it would come after the fact, essentially.
So I think it would be your discretion, to be completely honest. I don't think the lack of, or if you had the education or didn't, will prevent you from taking a test and being on a list. I think that's where the police commission comes in, reviews the candidates' files, their work product that they've done here, their personnel files, their education. And that's where you make determination of the best qualified candidate in after your interviews. That's kind of where I see it. I think you kind of, I don't want to put it back in your lap, but I think,
That's where it belongs.
yeah, I mean, you're the appointing authority. I don't think we're large enough to limit to the degree, because I think we put too many requirements or restrictions on there. Maybe see 25 people, it really would probably put some barriers in terms of getting. Ideally, I'd like to get 3 candidates in front of you for every position. I don't know if that's always gonna be an option, but I want to give you some options, and I want you to see, multiple candidates to make that selection and have a competitive process for promotions here.
Okay. Voting season, do we have any idea about the 3 quotes?
For the motors,
Yeah.
the vote, it's already been done.
Oh, okay.
So that was through the police, what do we pay for that through?
Outside services.
Outside services, the board of finance voted on that. Improved the purchase of the boat motors through the outside services fund after we presented the budget.
Okay.
So I think it's already, like, the motors are off the boat. It's already being, overhauled already. So that boat should be ready to go early spring.
Okay.
And we did get 3 quotes. It was 3 quotes presented.
And that is really about all that I heard. Thank you.
Well,
Carl, do you have any?
No, I just want to thank you for your presentation tonight. It was
Always.
very informative.
Okay, we're circling back to Jackie.
So one of the things that I brought up in last month's meeting was the website. Back in a couple of weeks ago on the 11th, I had the pleasure of meeting with Larry. He spent a lot of time with me, and he kind of toggled back and forth and brought up to the forefront some very important back end stuff that goes on behind the scenes. So some of the things that we addressed, he was able to kind of say, oh yeah, I see that, and addressed it quickly and took care of it. So I just wanted to thank him for meeting with me, and there's still, it's almost like a work in progress, but a lot of that we can do for the police commission page, and then in conjunction, someone within your department does the actual police website. Did I get that right, Larry?
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to add anything?
No.
Okay.
yeah, I think it'll always be a work in progress. I think there's always gonna be updates to be had. But yeah, we want to get to the point where it's reflective of what we're doing and who we are right now. And then make those updates as we need, as we evolve and we progress.
And if you could let us know, in the future who your point person is, so that if any commission member had something they wanted to talk about, we would know who to go to.
Okay.
In addition to, consulting with Larry and you as well.
Okay. Do that.
Thank you.
I just want to thank everybody for a productive meeting. Thank you very much for your presentation. I think the autism thing is a great program. I think sometimes you forget the number of people that travel into town, shop at, Kohl's, Big Y, Stop and Shop. And I've encountered people with their children, and even some, not just little kids, but even like older teenagers. And I think that will be a great program once we get that up and running. And I do just want to thank everybody for reaching out to me. It has not been an easy time, but And if, not, it's, most people know, but my nephew Christopher lived with me for the last 8 years. He moved in after my husband passed away. We're very, very close. He's like my own kid. So it hits hard, but I'm on a new crusade, so I will not ever, not take on my duties on the police commission or the Lions Club or anything, but, I'm gonna be busy, so. I need to do something in his honor. This is just an untimely death. Should not have happened, and I appreciate everybody's support. I appreciate the flowers that I received. They're absolutely gorgeous. One assortment had my favorite color purple, the other one had hydrangeas, which I absolutely love, and I can't thank the people in the town of Old Saybrook either. I've lived here my entire life, and the people who have reached out to me and to my family is just absolutely incredible. That's why I love being in this town. Carl Fortune makes fun of me for it, but that's fine. He's gonna be an honorary townly one day. That's all I have. I entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thanks, everybody.
Unanimous.